Good morning and welcome CEOs and entrepreneurs. Thank you for attending today's webinar, Boosting Your Business, Simple Steps for West London Entrepreneurs. We are honored to have Professor Rosalie with us today, an expert in enterprise and entrepreneurship. She's a Director of Business Engagement, Program Director of How to Grow Management, and an entrepreneurial mindset practitioner. She also chairs the Practice and Impact Special Interest Group at the Institute of Small Business Enterprise, advocating for sustainable business growth that balances economic development with environmental and societal well-being. I'm Yiman, the founder and director of Learning to Learn consulting firm, and I'll be your host today. My entrepreneurial journey took a significant turn when I decided to quit my PhD research during the UK's 2020 lockdown. That pivotal moment led me to the path of applying my research practically, specifically focusing on aiding entrepreneurs in navigating through the complexities of crisis management. Before coming to the UK, I worked for over 13 years in planning, logistics, and managing hotels. I also helped mentor people in business and leadership in Hong Kong and at the Shenzhen Airport in China. One of the big projects I led was in St. Albans. I helped make it a top choice for families moving to the UK. This work didn't just help the local shops and housing market, but it also had a big effect on the local elections there. Showing how well social media can work in bringing people together and leading change. Learning to Learn consulting firm is all about helping business grow and finding clever ways to market them. We focus a lot on helping people who are moving to the UK, especially those with British national overseas passport, to settle in and build good relationships with other businesses and customers. For the entrepreneurs joining us today, our company can offer you great tips and guidance. We can show you how to handle tough situations in business, break into new markets successfully, and use social media to connect with your community and lead effectively. Once again, thank you for your enthusiastic participation and support. Now, let's warmly welcome Professor Rosalie to the stage for Assessing University Access for Business Advantage, identifying and understanding how to use university knowledge hubs, such as cutting-edge research and technological advancements, on supporting local entrepreneurs without an academic background. Welcome, Professor Rosalie.
Hello, everybody. Welcome and good morning, wherever you are at the moment. So my name is Ainur Rosalie. I'm a professor at Brunel Business School. I've been leading the business support program, like what Yiman mentioned just now. So yes, we are going to understand better how businesses can actually work very closely together with the universities, with all of these services that we provided, not only for our students who are taking undergraduates, postgraduates, but also for businesses who could tap into our knowledge and programs that targeting small business. So to illustrate an example of how you could actually take an advantage about from our resources, let me look into one specific element of how can we help you to unlock the potential of your business, right? And I think that's what I am going to focus on today, at least for in the next 30 minutes, and I welcome you to ask more questions if you want to know more about how can I help you better. Now, key element that I want to address here is, why do you actually run your business? Why? Have you ever talked about it? Or have you ever think about why do you run your business? Or what is the purpose of you running a business? If you think about your business as a car, right? And if you say that I run my business because I need money. I run my business because I want to make more money. Why do you buy a car? So this is my question. why do you buy a car? If you buy a car to go to a destination, right, because you always travel to work and it's really troublesome if you having to wait for the bus, for example, or maybe your place of work is quite outskirt where you need to get into a destination, right? And same goes with buying a car. We do not buy a car because we want to put the fuel into it, because that's actually how business is all about. We need to start changing the mindset that we don't run business to make money, because money is just like fuel. It's just a tool that you need, gasoline that you need for your car to get to a destination. And I think by working with the university, it will then help you to clarify what destination that you are heading towards with your business, right? And you as a CEO, as a business leader, you're gonna be the steering. You're gonna be in the driver car, in driver's seat, maneuvering the destination of where you want to lead the car. So let's think about the car as our business, right? And if you look into the picture here, you have all of the dashboard in front of your car, and these are the metrics, the goals, the KPI about what you need to do in order for you to go to the next direction, right? You wanted to go to Scotland. You know that in order for you to go to Scotland, you need a certain amount of fuel, cash, right? And that's what it is, money, right? You need to have a sense of navigation. How am I going to drive to Scotland, right? And if you are new to driving, sometimes you have no clue on how to read the dashboard. Is it on the left-hand side that looks into my speed? Or is it on the right-hand side that I actually know where's the direction? How do I navigate this, right? Imagine that you ask your son or your children to actually look at the dashboard. Will they understand what it means? It only become clear in terms of how you navigate it the moment that you have the experience, the moment that you have the knowledge, right? And I think this is where the change of mindset that we need to understand, that we don't run a business because we want to make money. And the moment that we understand that money is just a fuel required for you to get into the destination. Now, do you think you'll be able to go to Scotland with your new car without any fuel? No, right? It is a important important tool that you need. It's a very, very important element that you need in order for you to run your car. So it's not about the direction of making money. It is actually about clarity about where are you heading, and then taking a step back, what do we need in order for you to actually go to the next level? Now, what we have learned about the business school so far, and I think for the past how many years of we setting up Brunel HIVE, a business engagement platform at Brunel Business School, is that we have supported up to 1,000 small businesses to help them to grow through various programs. And this is what we've learned, okay, in helping them to navigate their new cars, in helping them to service their old cars, because everybody needs a direction. And the direction change depending on the situation, right? Sometimes you need to go to Scotland. Sometimes you may actually stop over in Aberdeen before you go to Scotland, but the destination is clear that you want to go to the north, right? And key element here about business leaders is that you always be in a decision-making crossroads of what? Whether, how am I going to get there when my money is not enough? The turnover decline, that somehow I don't really think I have enough people to help me to get there, right? Which direction did I need to go? Do I need to change my direction to still going to Scotland, or shall we go towards on the right-hand side to North Island, for example, Northern Ireland, right? So adopting the business model in a changed environment is really, really important for you to be aware, all right? Because the equipment that you're going to bring in your car will change depending on the business model that you are in. It could be that you want to paint your car red so that people get noticed, or could be that you want to be an invisible so that you could actually follow through the highway without being noticed, right? So we are moving away from becoming very reactive about what we are doing into a much more strategic approach, that we have a limited resources as a business leader, and we want to know where we are going there and employ to the team together with us, right? It's much more fun to drive to Scotland, for example, with a full friends and employees in your car. So you have a somebody that can actually read the map for you, that's sitting next to you. You could actually have your employees sitting behind you in your car, where you then need to navigate. Think about it that way, in terms of how you could actually focus on the element of where you wanted to go without jeopardizing the goal, which is actually to achieve to the destination. And you won't be able to do it alone, right? This is actually what we've learned, and these 5 challenges are the key challenges that always been talked about for small businesses, right? And aligning in terms of who are we going to pick up along the way, meaning that what type of employee that we're going to invite into our car, right? Are you going to tell me that at the moment that you see a hitchhiker alongside the car, alongside the road, and just because you need somebody with you, you just simply pick them up without knowing their skills, without knowing how they can complement your strength? So I think this is the reason why building a team and connecting with the university, we have the experience of supporting other businesses, knowing their challenges, so that you don't have to go through that alone, right? And we, as an impartial entity that can actually help you to connect to a better opportunities, for example, or just providing you with a support with a limit that we could actually help with the funded programs that we have. So innovation is important, right? So we talk about all of those elements. The only way for us to survive is innovation, okay? And university is the key in terms of driving innovation. Now we need to understand, if you go to the market with your car, there's so many things that you can actually buy, and you can then see that there is many flavors of spices here, and innovation comes in a similar manner, that it can take in different dimension. It can take into a different business systems. And how would you know which one is the best for you, right? And how would I know as a professor which one is the best for you? We may actually have the framework to help you to think through, but at the end of the day, is sometimes you need to test and maybe let other people test, because, I've tried the turkey saffron. It doesn't suit me, but it might suit you. It might suit you because you don't like spicy stuff. And these are conversations that you could actually have with other peers, business leaders, when we actually come together in our program, which I'm going to talk about it later as well. So rather than you have to test every single flavors or every single spices available in the market while you are following through your journey to Scotland, you can then ask around with the other peers of business leaders, letting you know, I need to not to waste time, because I need to get to Scotland by next month. Is there any way for you to let me know which one might work? What's your experience of it? And I think that's the important element about peer-to-peer engagement, right? You don't actually have to taste things that you don't like. And make it faster as well. Because as a business leader, it's all about making a decision. You have a choice whether you make a decision based on evidence, meaning that you know what works, or somebody else tells you what works, or you can make a decision by closing your eyes and voila, just like that, you're gonna get it work. It doesn't work that way, right? So when you talk about innovation, I just want to give you some flavor in terms of what types of things that we do in the university for business leaders. So we give framework, right? It helps you to think about, right, I have this business and I need to get into the direction because I want to save the world. I want to make sure that the products that we produce is actually eco-centric, that can actually help other female entrepreneurs, for example, right? And how am I going to innovate? What are the things that I need to focus on? So let's have a look into this innovation radar to construct a very strategic approach where you just don't go into your car and then suddenly switch on your engine and then there you go. I don't know where I'm going, but I know I'm going somewhere. Okay. Little that you didn't realize that you only have half of your tank full. And now you don't really know where you wanted to go, and you don't really know who are you going to pick up along the way. That's your employees. And by doing that, you put yourself in a position, and that's the reason why majority of entrepreneurs fail in the first 3 years of their inception, because they don't really take a step back in terms of thinking of the strategy approach of innovation, right? They don't really think about the business model clearly. Now, we, of course, usually focus on the offerings of the company creates, your products, your services. That will then, on the right-hand side, you can then see the what, the platform, the solution, who are your customers, for example, that you are serving, in terms of whether they are happy with you or not, whether you're able to capture value from them, and also the process that you put in place, right? And I think this is actually a mind map that you could actually use to kind of like invest your limited resources, thinking about where is it that I want to focus on at the moment. There's no point of how you focusing on the process without you covering the what you are offering. But there's no point of you thinking about what you are offering without knowing about who you are offering to. Okay. And there's no point of you thinking about the fantastic services and products that you are going to provide to a customer that you already know without knowing where it's going to be, right? The points of presence, which market that you wanted to enter. And this will then help you to really focus on the target area that you wanted to put your resources in. So I like this innovation radar because it's not only think about the brand, the network that you have in terms of building your presence as a business leader and the individuals, and also as a firm, as a car that you're trying to build. Okay, if you're building it yourself, but also the solutions and the type of innovation that you're pushing yourself into this. Majority of the time, business think that I need to innovate by coming up with a new product, with a new services. It doesn't work that way. Innovation comes in a different types and different entity, right? I'm not going to go into all of these details, but there's so many types of innovation that you could actually make. Like, for example, how do you actually get a value capture from your own current network and customer? And this is actually what Google did, right? How did you think Toyota managed to come out with their innovation now? It's not via their products and services, but putting a process in place, a good process that actually helped them with the Six Sigma, for example, with the General Electric. Ford doing exactly the same. It's not about the product that comes out as an innovation, but the process that Ford put in place, right? And I think we were thinking about it that way. You will then be able to see, how can I actually create an advantage for my business? You don't really think about, oh, that's my competitors because we're selling a similar product. You now started to think, right, this is actually my products. I know my market. And this is actually where I could innovate with all of the radar that I have showed you just now. So let me give you an example. During the COVID, right? What happened? All of the restaurants closed. And for those businesses that really understand that innovation comes from various form, various types, it has a different flavors, right? You know that it might actually taste like a curry. It might actually taste like a five spices. It might actually just simply a saffron taste. Now, because innovation is also systemic, meaning that you won't be able to survive alone. And this is what Leon did, because they know that I am able to survive because I am big. However, the moment that we open up the restaurant again, we are pretty sure that all of our suppliers will be doomed. Why? Because they are small businesses. The small businesses that supplies for Leon. And Leon started to think, all right, the only way for us to survive in the future is by making sure that our suppliers hang on during COVID, we need to help our suppliers. And this is exactly how they innovate, right? They come up with, if you look into this, they come up with a campaign of Feed Britain. Rather than buying their products, they put together everything that you need in order for you to cook your product in a box coming directly from their suppliers. Their intention is what? They understand that I need to make sure that all of our suppliers and all of our systems survive together. And the moment that you have that mindset, you are able to innovate. Not only that Leon able to survive and get a cut, that is a new product development, but how did they manage to do it? They managed to do it because understanding that in the next 2 years, the moment that COVID over, when we started to open our business again, how can we ensure that we have our suppliers ready? Right? How can we ensure that the best meat of cut that we always receive from this butcher, for example, they're still able to supply to us because they are still trading. And you can then see the importance of systemic, that business innovation not only comes in different types, but it also very systemic, right? Who is actually supplying to you? And that's what social value is all about. That's actually how business advantage comes. It's not only about running a business for the sake of making money, but an understanding that the money is a necessity in order for you to drive to where you are heading. And unless you know where you are heading properly, you might not know, because at the beginning, maybe with the fuel that you have, you might only be able to get to Manchester. But at least in your mind, you know that Manchester is half step away towards Scotland, right? And that is actually how innovation works. And then you can then see, you can then map out, if this is actually the things that you could actually want to do for your organization, you could start mapping out. I know my strength currently is in my brand. And, how can I innovate my brand better? Through other platforms, through other innovation profile, right? Some businesses will have a stronger and innovate in a certain area, but others in a different area. So you started to change and becoming better in terms of narrowing the types of innovation that you could actually do. You don't really randomly say that I run a business and I need to innovate. Yes, take a step back. Where is it that I can actually create value and create advantage against my competitors? There are several elements that you could actually explore. Now, I'm just sharing with you some example in terms of all of other business leaders that have worked with us through. We have several programs with us. And what we did was that when I talk about systemic, right, we help each other. University have a vast network of alumni, partners and collaborators. And in fact, we connect these businesses together. And in fact, for this one, we nominated them to actually being featured by the UK government on their website. So majority of the time, if the business leaders work very closely with us and we know the potential of the business leader, we're more than happy to actually support organization to the next level, because that's what we do. This is another example as well that we actually put forward, how this engineer able to, being featured in the Times, for example, and the newspapers. Louise here, we work very closely with her. She started her social media company and now actually branching into sustainability, being nominated and also won UK Innovation Award as the next female innovator, for example, with a grant of £50,000. So there's a lot of opportunities available. And if R&D is your key, we have a research development officer that can actually connect you with the technologies, engineers, scientists, you name it, right? And I think that's the power of universities, that it's not only about teaching students. Well, we put businesses at heart, particularly for the business school, because we believe that the moment that we care and we support and lead businesses to correct direction, you are able to employ more businesses. You are able to create more jobs. Not only that will actually help the local community, particularly in West London that we are interested on, and also internationally in certain countries, but also in terms of employment. Employability is quite important for our students, and not only about job creation, but also the growth of the firm, the locality, and the GDP of the country. So do let us know if you are interested to know more about our programs. But I'm just giving you a flavor in terms of understanding the need to have a clarity in terms of your mind in making decision. Reach out to me if you want to know more about what we do. I'll either email my my team there. Because sometimes if you email me alone, I have thousands of emails. Sometimes I don't really go through I don't really go through the emails quite quickly. So this is something that I can share with you for today, and I hope you find it useful, and I'm more welcome to open the door for any questions if you have any.
So we have a question from one of our participants. He's asking, bearing in mind 99% of organizations cannot ever achieve a true net zero, are we ever going to see some serious help for those of us who can offer a better than net zero solution?
Oh, it's a good question about net zero. This is what I mean when I say I just want to share. Let's go back to the main slides once about the dashboard, right? Let's talk about the dashboard here,
Again.
because this dashboard will illustrate what we understand about net zero as well. Now, are we saying that suddenly once you just bought a car, a gasoline car, okay? Yes, the car actually contributes towards the carbon footprint. But with the limited resources that we have, are you trying to tell me to ditch my newly bought car and then moving into a totally electric car? It just doesn't make sense, right? And the government understands that. But it is important for them to put a target. Why? Just like when you as an organization know that you're going to Scotland, you know that you're going to go there, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be there the next day. So same goes on the KPI and targets. The moment that we are aware that the government is going to do into that direction, now when you need to upgrade your car and you want to give a service to your business, in which direction that you wanted to go, you will definitely started buying electric car, right? And I think why I want to illustrate that as a story, because the metrics is there to allow us to go for a target. It's not about achieving zero target, right? It's not about whether we're gonna celebrate companies that actually achieve zero target of net zero. It's more about progression. What happened if they don't have a target? Nobody move. But what we wanted to do now is making sure that every single cars available on earth, especially in the UK, are moving towards that. And every company knows that net zero is one of the targets that we can only achieve collectively together. And for SMEs, it's very important. Why? Because SMEs consist of 98% of the GDP, contribute to 99 or 98% of the GDP of the economy, right? And do you think big corporation alone can do it? No. Even the UNDP realized that in terms of supporting the SDGs towards the 2030. But are you saying that we're going to achieve each one the SDG by relying on a big corporation? No. So key element here is about taking action, knowing that's something that we need to think about and put it in our metrics, right? So you can then see on the left-hand side, what would be the metrics that you need to measure? Okay, what would be your target? And that's what matters. The moment that you take the decision towards it. It's not about the end journey, but it's the progress towards it that matters. And there's a lot of investment being made in the next few years. And in fact, now for supporting SMEs in terms of adopting the measurement and calculation for the ESG, and also the SDG impact standards that are coming up in terms of how businesses can actually learn about creating more value without additional resources. So these are the things that you could actually get from the university, right? It's not about you. If you need help, knock on the door, and we will. If you don't really know, we will know somebody that might know the answer. So that's where it is.
Oh yeah, sorry. Thank you, Professor. This is the Q&A session. I forgot to remind people, this is a good time. If you have any questions about the presentation, or if you have any question about your entrepreneurship, please feel free to ask your question on the right-hand side chat box. And I received another question from one of the participants earlier. Well, this is a great question. Everyone wants to know how to get customers. Do you want to share something for us?
Okay, how to get customers? Yes. How to get some. There's a whole lot of we run several events, by the way. If you go to our website, I think the next event that we are running is in January. I think there's a few in December as well, in terms of crafting your sales channels for Christmas, and also marketing and digital marketing. Why I mentioned that, I'm not be able to explain to you in details about how you get your customer, but there's one thing that I know in terms of what you need to start doing. It's about making sure that before you run anything or create something, have you speak to their potential customer. Who are your stakeholders, right? That's my first question. If you ask me about how can I gain more customer, my first question is to you, do you know who are your stakeholders is? Have you got the list of stakeholders, the type of stakeholders that you need to work with in order for you to understand your customer better? A customer have a different types. Do you actually know all types of the potential customers or not? And have you had a conversation with this type of individuals, right? If the answer is yes, then let's join the course, because then what you need is just a system in place for you to achieve that, right? So, but if you don't really have done that, this is what you need to do first. Go and understand who are your stakeholders. I spoke to several startups who are actually trying to get a pitching for investment, right? I think I had several mentoring session last week on that. And this is quite interesting, because in order for you to get an investment, usually investor will ask about your traction, your market, how many customers do you actually have? And one thing that I mentioned to them about getting the customers is not only about the numbers but also the quality. Okay, how do we get that? There's so many different ways of getting it, but again, you won't able to do it by blasting. You know why it's blasting? Where you just simply shout out loud, hoping that somebody will hear. Just like what you always do on the social media, you're just blasting, hoping that somebody will hear or somebody will see your social media. It doesn't work that way. It's just merely a tool, but you need to know what to shout about, who to target, right? What to say, and what matters the most is what touch people's heart. So if you don't really talk to people, how would you know what touched their heart? Because people buy from their mind and heart, right? Nothing else. So if you need to think about what touched their heart, and that is what it is. That's why I always say it's all start by the stakeholders. You don't have to think about all of the tools, marketing, and so on. The moment that you touch people's heart, they know you get you already know that you got their customer. Yeah. So we have another questions there on the chat.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So how will AI help starting a new business or even growing a business? It's quite
everyone asking about AI.
Yeah.
Everyone in the market, every time I go for engagement, people will be very nervous to say, "Oh my God, AI will replace everyone's job." And then my next question for them, I will say, "So why don't you start up?" So I let you explain let you go for the answer. Thank you.
Okay, all right. AI is just like a calculator. Imagine that you are trying to do your maths and do your calculation of your numbers without a calculator. That's my comments, right? And that is actually a key about how I look at AI. And when calculators started, for example, everybody who works with numbers say that this is going to change our life. This is going to change, that you don't really need an accountant. You don't really need a calculation, because everything is going to be replaced by a calculator. What's the difference with AI? It's just making what we're going to do better, faster, and much more easier, right? Have you ever think about living now without Google? All right. Does the library think that, oh my God, Google is coming now, nobody actually will want to use library anymore? Why? Because librarian used to do searching books for you, right? By calculating, by they are information system. That's what librarian do. They have a very specialist on that. But does their role change? Their role change now, meaning that they can do things faster. They help to organize books faster and easier, and the scope of their role change. So it's not about whether AI is going to replace, and we need AI to start the business. In fact, you need AI now to live and do your work, any type of work, easier, faster, but key element that you need to understand by that is that if you don't really have the knowledge and use it as a reliance, you're not thinking. Your brain is not thinking. Means that you're not able to use it to the benefit of your business. But you think about as a tool to actually save your time, to go to the next level. Like why people put AI in the chat box for their business website. If they think about, I need to do that because my competitor's doing it, you don't really understand why you're doing it. Again, if you think that, right, before I need to spend 6 hours per week attending and answering the question with the customer online, okay, now AI can replace me so that I can do better job. I can actually go out to talk to real people. And that's what AI do. You don't really take AI just because somebody else doing it. You need to start thinking about, right, at the moment, maybe we talk about metrics, and I'm sharing with you all of your dashboard of your car. What is your dashboard of your car? Do you know how many hours per day, per week of what types of activities that you do? If you spend 3 days answering questions via email and website and repetitive questions about it, right? Think about the fact that you can take a step back, let AI do it, and then there you go, you can make more money. You can actually get more fuel for your car. And that's what AI do to your business, right? It's just a calculator, it's just a tool to help you do things faster.
Thank you, Professor. I remember the time, can I share my experience? When the time I arrived the country to join some politicians' campaigns, for the London mayoral campaigns, I joined the Conservatives. And when we just step into the lockdown, we try to use the online meeting instead of to meet together face to face. I think this is a kind of technology we should face to it and understand how to use it. And when I was helping them to translate the English campaign into Cantonese or Chinese version, because we want to attract the Hong Kong people, we are voter as well. We want to attract them in the internet. So I tell them, you can easily to put this social media onto either any social media platform instead of hand out door by door to knock on the door to tell them, oh, this is for you to vote for the London mayors. But they still not quite understand what I'm talking about. But after the lockdown, now I can see they are working very well in social media. So I'm giving this as an example. Sometimes we don't know something, we are very uncertain and nervous. This is part of my PhD research as well. So during the crisis, we are quite nervous. Oh, what to do? So I often in my social media, I will share how I step into university degree, MBA or PhD without a first of the bachelor. Because as an entrepreneur, we have to keep on learning. If you stop to learn and just stay there and nervous and stressed, it doesn't help. It doesn't help. So in my research, I found that entrepreneurs were not just a risk taker. We take the risk to go for a new venture because we want to survive. For this moment, we are facing crisis. So we want to survive from it. So what are we going to do? We go for a new venture. So how can you go for a new venture? You need to keep on learning to enhance or enrich your knowledge, such as Professor Rosalie just shared. We have to go through and ask the help from university. And now you got the express fast track in front of you. So Professor, can you tell us how can we reach out with you, with some of our audience or the participants? We got participants, they want to know how to reach you or how to start on the step on the stone or step on the ladder with you. How to do that? Or you got any programs coming you want to send to them later? Or
Yeah, I think that's you know, I would more than happy to share the slides that have a different programs there. But I think one thing that I could actually share is the email address of the team that I work with. So we have a Brunel HIVE team. They are business engagement platform and run the business support program for Brunel Business School. So if you look into this link, you know, the one that I shared with you, I can also give you certain registration program that if you are based in West London, we have a Build Back Better program. If you're based particularly in Harrow, for example, we also work closely with local council, particularly for Harrow residents, businesses who are based in Harrow. If you are, you know, on that, it's actually free of charge. We also have a heavily subsidized, so government subsidized 90% of the program. It's more like a mini MBA for the Help to Grow management program, but that one is targeting businesses who already run more than 1 year with 3 to 5 employees minimum. So there are several programs running around. You know, even with Brunel HIVE, you know, just reach out to us, because one thing about us that's quite differently is that we will do a diagnostic with you first to see what is it that you need and how are you able to achieve it, like what is needed for you. So like you go for a doctor, you are sick, you don't know what to do, you know, there's a symptom that, you know, I have a runny nose, I don't know what's wrong, it's been there for how many weeks, right? Doctors knows because they have an experience about it. So but you need to tell them what is it first. So I think the similar approach that we're taking for business, because every single business leaders or business entity have a different need in a different context, that have a different level of you know, uncertainty or help. And before we gave that, all right, this is program good for you, you should go that, it's more about let's do a need analysis, diagnostic about how can we understand you better, and then we can actually talk about what's available. Some businesses stays with us in our program for more than 1 year purely because, you know, the things that they need, it hasn't been resolved because it takes time. Some within 1 week or 2 weeks can be solved, right? Because you know, suddenly we have a program running the next week that, you know what, you could actually just go there and this will then help you to go to the next level. Okay, so it's to reach out to us and then see what we could actually help you on that. For entrepreneurs to build resilience against adversity and challenges. So I think key the framework that I shared with you, and I don't know whether Oliver, when I was presenting about the framework, that framework which I think Iman will share with everybody who are coming today, is one of the way for you to understand that, because adversity is very context specific, right? Resilience for one person is quite different from the other. And I think what I'm trying to share with you today, the fact that innovation have a many types, many spices available. So if you go to the market, how would you know which type of spices is correct for the one that you wanted to cook, right? And I think that's what my point about that, you know, innovation that you're trying to develop strategies requires understanding about all of these elements. And once you understand the basic element of all of these, you know, in 4 categories, I can actually say it: the offerings of the organization, the customer that you serve, the process that you put in place, and the points of presence. And I just wanted to share with you something about this. So Brunel Business School, we just received, we got a new dean, okay? And he's a specialist, a professor in digital transformation, on AI, all of the digital transformation, and has helped many big organizations before to transform their organization. And when he came in, I just want to share with you what he told me in terms of strategy, right? So, you know, when you come in and you wanted to come up with new strategies here and there, start your process first, right? What's the process? Do you understand the process of how you deliver to your customer, right? Do you have that map in your mind? And you won't be able to build your resilience and adversity unless you strengthen and finalize your process, okay? So process, some people think, is the operationalization of the strategy, right? However, if you are developing your strategy, it is also worth to really understand all of these elements, including what is it that you're offering, the customers, who are the customers in terms of their experience, how can we give a better customer experience? When you start thinking that way, you started to know that you can only capture value the moment the customer have a better experience. You then started to change and innovate in your processes. You started to think about how you could actually come up with a better product. And that will then support the overarching strategy of your organization. Okay. And for small business, it's important that way because we have limited resources. Because sometimes you need to know, in order to go to Scotland, you need to have a rest in Manchester. Okay. And that's what it is, right? It depends on the level of fuel that you actually have in your tank of your car. I hope that I answer your questions, Oliver. So Brian have here, in a rapidly evolving world where information is constantly updated and often contradictory, how do you defend the truth in your field of expertise? Right, this is actually quite interesting there. Entrepreneurship, what is entrepreneurship? Okay. People think that entrepreneurship is about creating a business, right? That's if like that is a destination. For me, entrepreneurship is a process, right? So if it's actually a process, right? We call it entrepreneur learning or, entrepreneurial, right? You don't really need to be an entrepreneur or running a business in order for you to be entrepreneurial. So that will then change completely in terms of how you address information, how do you make decisions, right? And how do you actually navigate the challenges? Because everybody wants to know what is the truth. Okay, that is a philosophical thing. What everybody wants to know, this is the truth and yours is not the truth. But the truth actually comes the moment that you are in the process. When you are in the process, you validate the information. When you validate the information, you understand this is actually how it is. And you start to build metrics. And why I always go back into your dashboard. What is your dashboard? All right, car have this certain dashboard because in order for the car to work, these are the dashboard, right? That has been required in order for you to maintain the car to go to the next destination. So in your role, whatever it is, whether you are an employee, whether you're a student, whether you're running your business, what is your dashboard? And by doing that, you have a data-informed culture. What does it mean? Meaning that when you drive the car, if you go beyond 70 kilometers per hour and the road only allow you to go for 50 kilometers per hour, you know that you need to slow down. And is that what it means, that the truth in your field, right? And I think you can only do that if you have the data. And you can only do that if you can validate it. That's why I'm a champion in managing for impact, or managing to maximize the impact. I'm a champion for that. That's why I'm an accredited trainer for UNDP SDG Impact Standards, where we actually help businesses to create a data-informed culture on making this type of experience, making this type of decision, right? Businesses, just like us as individuals, make constant decisions. You need to decide whether you want to sell this product today, tomorrow, the next day. That's decision. It helps if you have a dashboard. It helps if you make an informed decision. Now, it's not about precisions. It's about enough data to help you navigate the challenges of this terrible information, so many information. But if you have a dashboard in front of you, you could then slash, this information is irrelevant. This is irrelevant at the moment, right? It might be in the future, but not now. And that's how you scope in terms of priority of how you manage your time and resources. So I hope you understand a little bit here. It's not about, validating something. In fact, in my field, I can only validate the moment I'm in it. I can only say things like this because I am in it, right? I won't be able to extend my field in terms of business support program for businesses if I don't really run it. And I think that's the difference between those who only talk and those who are actually doing it. So for Brian, you will then know the moment that you have the data, right? The moment you have the data, you will then have more confidence to speak, right? Because you won't feel that as if like you are, making things up, right? That's how you build your confidence. That's how you build your field of expertise. Data informed culture is what you need to do. So think about it. Build your own dashboard. What would your dashboard looks like? What would your, it can be simple dashboard, right? If I want to get into to Scotland, how much fuel do I need? How much speed do I need to go? Because I'm currently studying, I'm currently working part-time, and I'm running my own business. So you know to gauge, you know how to manage, and you need to be clear of your dashboard.
Thank you so much. So come to the end of the webinar. I want to thank you everyone for joining us today. If you have any more questions, feel free to email us at info@learningtolearn.co.uk. Also, you can book a free 30-minute consultation with us. Just scan the QR code on this slide to visit our website and set up your appointment. We are looking forward to hearing from you and helping you further. Once again, thank you for your time and participation. So we record everything today and we will send to all participants later on. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Professor Rosie. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Iman. Thank you, Iman, for the invitation.
Bye.
Have a lovely weekend, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yes, have a lovely weekend. Thanks. Bye-bye.